What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hockey Town University. You are here with me once again, your host, Derek and Zach. Derek, we got a new jersey in here. It's the Patrick Kane jersey. This is take two. I'm sorry. That's why I'm laughing. How jealous are you, buddy? But what's going on? How are we doing?
Zach, I'm doing great. Another wonderful week of work. I sound a lot better. If anyone could actually tell, I'm not sick
You do.
anymore. Well, yeah, I can actually have a voice again. It's great. But it's rough looking at that jersey on your wall because I low-key want to get one and probably will next week at the San Jose game. But at the same time, it hurts staring at a jersey that I've hated for so many years. Not the jersey itself, but the number on the jersey and the name. So it's a strange mix of emotions going on right now. But I'm still probably going to buy one just because, I got to walk around Chicago and see what happens to myself.
Yeah. There were quite a bit. Yeah, so I went to the Chicago Blackhawks versus the Detroit Red Wings game, obviously in Detroit. Yeah, got the jersey. There were a lot of Blackhawks fans there, obviously, to see Connor Bedard. He did get an assist, so that was pretty cool to see. He looked really good out there. Was getting a little frustrated too, so that was always great to see that, right? That our Red Wings team can do that. We're good again. That's awesome. But yeah, went into the store. Didn't really expect to see him in there so soon. I went during the first intermission and snagged the first one that I saw. Clearly this one right here. And it got me a lot of attention. I will say that. Good attention. Some people picking at me a little bit, aka the Blackhawks fans, giving me a little bit of gripe, saying he hasn't even played a game yet. It's a little soon. He's not even going to play another season with you guys. Why'd you even get that? And to me, I just want it signed. I want to frame it. I want to put it right here so all of you can see it every single time that we record. And it's also right by my Pavel Datsyuk jersey. Maybe I'll put them right next to each other. Two jerseys I never would have expected that I could put right next to each other. So that's great. Yeah. No, spent a lot of money on it. Good investment. We'll see how it pans out. But thanks for joining us, everyone. We definitely appreciate it. If you guys are returning, if you are new, thanks for joining us. Turns the frowns upside down. The octopus. Make sure you are subscribing if you are new. Make sure you are hitting the thumbs up button if you are both returning and new. We definitely do appreciate it. Helps us out. Helps the algorithm. Gets us out there. Y'all know the deal. All right. So what do we have in store, Derek? We have Red Wings news. We got around the league news. And then we're going to cover the last three games, which were against the New York Rangers, the Chicago Blackhawks, like I mentioned, and then last night against the Montreal Canadiens. Today is Sunday, December 3rd. It is almost 11:30 a.m. for those of you that care, for reference. So, Derek, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's talk about the Around the League news. First off, the NHL All-Star Draft is back! Your boy, Phil the Thrill. I don't think he's a big fan of the NHL All-Star Draft. You've seen the videos and everything, right? And the stories and the joke about how he's always picked last and then the trades and everything, right?
Oh, he has always had a good time with the past little drafts that he's been a part of. I don't know why he would be upset. I don't see a reason.
Okay, the upset maybe wasn't the right word, but still. When you think about the NHL All-Star Draft, you immediately think of Phil Kessel.
I low-key kind of think of Ovi and how he wanted to get picked last so he could get a car.
That too, yeah.
That was pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. Just holding up the paper sign.
Nope,
I'd be a car.
Was it Kane that actually picked him?
Yes, it was Patrick Kane. And then the look on his face too, Ovi, he's just like, dude, what are you doing? I wanted the car. This wasn't a joke.
Fans in the NHL doesn't have a car, wants to win one, like, okay, bud.
No, honestly, I guess my main question is, what do you think about it overall? Is, for me, I think it's great. I think it's fun. I kind of hope they make it a little different. I don't know what they can implement. I really don't have any ideas. I'm a little boring, I guess, in that sense. What do you think, Derek? Do you think it's great that the NHL is implementing this once again? Do you have any ideas that they could throw in there to make it a little more better?
Man, I feel like you at this point. I don't have many ideas that's going to help it out in sense, but at the same time, it's just one of those things I'd love to watch just because you get to see the best of the best, pick who else is the best in the league. I mean, at this point, we all know it can be a little biased, a little back alley type stuff going on for no apparent reason. Something that's supposed to be fun.
What do you think? Like underground covered deals going on that people don't know about? Like,
Exactly. That's how these people. That's how everyone gets into this. You'll see someone out of nowhere that shouldn't be in that room, and it's like, I know what they did.
No, but you're right. You hit the nail on the head, and that's the best part about it, right? Is the fact that when you decide whoever the captains are, right? It's probably going to be like East or team. Let's use the example: Team Kane versus Team
McDavid.
Sure, yeah.
I'm sorry, gotta pick the obvious.
Team Kane versus Team McDavid. Sure, let's do that, right? And so the best part about it is that you're not selective to only like your conference, right? The East Conference if you're in the East, or the West Conference, right? So you get to pick the best of the best at that available time based on that player's opinion, right? Or whoever his advisors are, his A's, his assistant captains. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. I think that this helps a lot of fans out there, or at least people that you're trying to introduce to hockey to become fans, watching the best of the best play with the best of the best. So that's why I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. Hopefully more than just one Red Wing can be in it this year. I think this is the year that can finally happen.
Guys.
What'd you say?
I feel like it's the year for the Red Wings having more than one player being in this draft, so it's going to be really good for us.
All right. So while we're on that, if you could pick two, who are your two right now? Is it Larkin and DeBrincat? Is it that simple, or would you pick someone else?
I think right now Larkin, probably just because it's Larkin. You really can't say no. It's the captain, the person that's been running this team and can produce and has the high hockey IQ of a god. And, I might want a pretty good defense in there, too. So I feel like maybe even Mo Seider splitting it up like a defense and an offense, not just the offensive side. So, I mean, and hell, if Line keeps it up with what he has right now, he would be a very good option for a goalie.
3 options. Hey, we can have 3 options, too. No, Line would be a good one, too. I think he's just got to get a couple more games in, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that as we go on. But yeah, I think we can move on to the next one. Let's kind of talk about the Corey Perry situation. Corey Perry has been terminated basically by the Chicago Blackhawks due to ethical reasons, pretty much. Just not a good human being, whatever he did. Apparently alcohol is an apparent play of it. Alcohol abuse. Kyle Davidson did a press conference on it. He made sure that the rumor going around on social media was not true regarding anyone else's family, which is good. However, a lot of people don't think that that's true. We're not here to continue saying that we don't think that Kyle Davidson is lying. However, what does this mean for the Chicago Blackhawks franchise, and how does this make them look? Not only did they go through the Kyle Beach situation a couple years ago, to then getting the first overall pick, to then now dealing with a Corey Perry situation.
It's a fun time to be in Chicago. I give credit to Davidson. He's a new GM, so this is probably his first run around with something like this. But man, he was behind on the time to get in front of this, especially in terms of the internet era now. He got out, like, maybe, 2 days afterwards, got out, let everybody know. But the worst part is that's 2 days late, buddy. Like, the internet made it known.
Yeah, it was pretty late. And I also think it was pretty late that, yes, it was late to have the press conference. I think, yeah, it came out like on Monday or Tuesday. Corey Perry got let go the next day. And then the next day, you had the press conference. Yeah, that all happened way too late. Regardless if that rumor was true, whatever Corey Perry did, You probably should have had it happen the day of everything came out, or at least the next day, and then you should have had the press conference that same day. Who knows if they were busy, if they were somewhere else. I don't know what their schedule was like team-wise, so I really don't know. However, yeah, the Blackhawks fan base and the franchise definitely has had a rough last 3 years, so to say. Connor Bedard definitely helps the wound a little bit, but it's not a good look, right? And you're one
You
of
take that long to get in front of your best player like that. That's the one person on that team that you're trying to build a franchise around right now. God, you protect him at all costs. Like, you don't let that rumor smolder for more than 20 seconds. Ugh. I feel
yeah.
bad for the kid.
Yeah, so do I. And this, I don't think that his frustration on the bench when we played against them on Thursday was because of the rumor, but who knows? I don't think that that's the case, and I don't think that that rumor is true. The one swirling around on social media, I do think it has something to do with Corey Perry just maybe having too much soda pops at night or during the day and just saying the wrong things at the wrong time that it shouldn't be. And so that's what kind of got him terminated from the team, the franchise. And I do think that there are potentially some teams out there that are interested in getting a Corey Perry if he kind of turns it around and get him back for like a playoff situation, right? Being one of those extra men that they have on their roster, making that push. All right, let's move on from this one. I'm sick of hearing this. So,
That's Chicago.
Zadorov was traded to Vancouver for a 5th round pick and a 2024 5th round pick in 2024 and a 3rd round pick in 2026. Jesus, help me please this Sunday. All right. Yeah.
Cool. Pretty mediocre trade. It happened. You're welcome, everybody, for knowing now.
It happened. Yeah. And there was another trade. So, due to Corey Perry, Anthony Beauvillier was traded from Vancouver to the Chicago Blackhawks. And then this trade happened right after. So Vancouver's doing really good. Obviously, Calgary really is not. That's where Zadorov came from, is Calgary. So Calgary seems like now's the time to start trying to collect as many assets as you can, and assets in terms of draft capital, because they're not doing so hot right now. Markstrom's having a good year, but as a team in general, they're just on the decline. Next year, who knows what it's going to be like. You got players like Huberdeau that can't seem to be turning it around and having career years like he did with the Florida Panthers. And then you have who's help me out here, Derek. Nazem Kadri, who isn't performing like he did in Colorado. Thanks.
You got me. Calgary's the one team I know very little about, except the fact that they are not doing what they're supposed to do this year.
Right. Well, everyone thought it was 2 years ago before the Tkachuk thing. Then that trade happens with Huberdeau. They sign Nazem Kadri. Everyone's like, okay, they could be all right. And they have Markstrom too, and it's like, okay, yeah. But yeah, I as soon as they signed Kadri, I was like, I don't think that this is going to work out for them. This is not. They lost all their young, good players. They got older. They haven't all played together, and the coaching situation was just horrible. They had Daryl Sutter. I don't even know who their coach is right now, and that's horrible on me to say that while we're recording this. Ryan Huska. There we go. Okay. There, now y'all can't get mad at me. I know my coaches. All right, let's move along, Derek. Let's go into the Red Wings news, shall we? That's why you're all are here. Red Wings news, honestly, really, Chicago legend Patrick Kane signs 1-year deal with the Detroit Red Wings. Suck it, Hawks fans. And he absolutely loves being in and just loves how the winged wheel jersey is. Loves being in it, loves the design of it. Called an absolute beauty. Not word for word, but you get what I'm saying. Derek.
I saw your little stutter there, and I looked down at the notes, and I realized exactly where you stopped at. I was like, "Oh yeah, I would probably read that too. Don't worry." I don't even know what
Yeah.
you're trying to put in there.
Yeah, but Derek, no, what does this mean to you, buddy? How do you feel about Patrick Kane saying that he loves the winged wheel, the jersey, the logo, all of it?
I mean, after hearing his presser with him and Yzerman talking and how like everything came together finally and understanding the whole concept of what he thought of the Red Wings beforehand, even like we know we were a rivalry back in the day, especially with him playing against all of our top tier players too. Because of course Kane's been around 16 years now, so he was back playing against us in our heyday too. So, and he knows the greats that we've had. So it makes sense. It's like if you're a true hockey player and a true hockey fan, you know the Red Wings are probably one of the teams, the greatest teams and the greatest stories in the league. So you know the fact that if he's true with it, he's going to know it's a good team, and I'm happy to hear him say it out loud. So I think it's a good movement for us and for Patrick Kane. Makes him look really good coming into the show for us.
Yeah, with his press conference, with Steve Yzerman's press conference, it really did sound like that he really wanted to be here, right? I really didn't want to go into this right away, but I have heard the rumors that there was a deal in place with him signing here, that not only did he want to sign here because he did think that this team legitimately is a playoff team and can compete in the playoffs, but if for God, for whatever reason, that does not happen, he would be traded at the trade deadline. I don't know how I feel about that. While I do think that the return could be high if Patrick Kane is doing well, near a first round pick, I don't know if I would really want to do that. If he wants to, if I get it, he wants to make the playoffs and he wants to try and make a Stanley Cup run. Okay. Do I think that we can make the Stanley Cup? No. But that really all depends. Let me see what Patrick Kane does for us first and what we do at the trade deadline.
We saw what Florida did last year, and the way they started off the year, I wouldn't expect them to make a Stanley Cup run either. But lo and behold, look who was at the end of the run.
Right,
And
right. No, and that's anything happens. And look at all those times that the Los Angeles Kings did it too. They were plenty of times they were the 8th or 7th seed and they made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final and won. So there are opportunities to. The chances are low, but I'm not going to sit here and say that we can do it, guys. We can, but I'm not quite there yet. Maybe once the trade deadline comes and I see what we do, where we're standing, maybe I can be that enthusiastic. All right, Derek. Well, are the Red Wings finally a top destination for players to want and come to?
I mean, with what we were just saying, I think we're at that point where we're pretty much out of our rebuild. We're at the point where we could, I believe, if we're looking at the points right now and how everyone usually calculates everything after Thanksgiving, we are a playoff team. And I think, what is it, like 75% of the time, if you're a playoff team coming up after Thanksgiving, you actually make it into the playoffs? I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah, it's probably something ridiculous like that. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't have a graph in front of me. I'm sure someone on Twitter does. We probably should have looked that up. If you want to take the time to try and find it, go ahead. I can fill the void in the meantime. But yeah, currently the Red Wings, they sit third in the Atlantic with 29 points in 23 games. The Florida Panthers, with one more game played, they have 30 points. So if the Red Wings win their next game, which would be on Tuesday against the Buffalo Sabres, the Red Wings would pass the Florida Panthers, that the Florida Panthers did not play another game. And so...
Ooh, I was almost right, Zach. 76.7% of the time.
Okay. No, that's really good still. But to be fair, this time last year, we were right around where we are now. It's the long stretch, right? And now you're getting into it's getting deep into the holidays. You got over Thanksgiving. Now you're going into Christmas. Larkin just had, his sad situation happen, which we will talk about. And sicknesses, injuries, that all comes eventually through time. And so can the Red Wings maintain that? We're just going to have to wait and see. And right now, we're riding the hot hand. They're on a 2-game winning streak. They should have won against the New York Rangers, but we'll talk about that eventually here too. But yeah, talking about what my question was, yeah, I do think, are the Red Wings a top destination for players to want to come to? Yeah, I really do think so. And what you said about the rebuild technically being over, yes and no. I think the plan still is to try. You obviously, now is the point where you're trying to make the playoffs every year, right? But at the same token, you have to do the best that you can to draft your first round talent and develop them properly, so that way you can maintain the success that you currently are seeing now. I do think that we are overplaying to our ability. We kind of did it last year as well, but I think we can maintain it a little bit better this year than we did last year. Would you agree with me on that?
I'll take that for what it is, because obviously we had, like you said, we had those stints where we were playing amazing. Obviously, this year's seems a little different. Instead of throwing up like 40 shots and getting 1 goal, we're at least doing the exact opposite, throwing up 30 shots,
Yeah.
getting 5 or 6 goals. So we have something in place there that's working out. Obviously, I don't want to see the back end where it's 4 or 5 goals against us and we're still barely squeaking out a win. That's not what obviously Stanley Cup team is made of. But we'll get into some of that little statistics here later on too when we talk about the games. But I'll go with you on that one, Zach. Yeah, we're not out of it yet, but we got to develop what we have to keep this going and slowly progress us to make us that team that's going to be contending for the cup.
Yeah, and I did have this question here, and this is I think we both pretty much already answered it. Are the Red Wings a playoff contending team? Yeah, right now without a Patrick Kane, they are a playoff contending team. They stood even pretty well against the New York Rangers team. We're going to talk about that here next. They did lose, but they didn't have Dylan Larkin, but they stood pretty well up against a New York Rangers team that is atop at the league right now currently. So would you agree with me that they are a playoff contending team, Derek?
Oh yeah, right now, especially even forget the stats of Thanksgiving, whatever everyone's supposed to be at right now. With how we've been playing, how we look, I see us making the playoffs pretty easily this year, as long as we keep it up and don't
Right.
progressively go down, especially with injuries and whatnot going forward.
Right. Correct. All right. Awesome. Yeah. Let's move on. All right. Main topics, right? So let's cover the 3 games. So we got the New York Ranger game, the Hawks game, the Blackhawks, and then the Montreal Canadiens game that was last night. So that one's a little fresh. So that one will be more talked about, I feel like. But I think we'll probably go in depth about this New York Rangers game because this one was pretty bad, in my opinion. And bad not because the Red Wings looked bad, because the officiating was just atrocious. No Patrick Kane, obviously. No Dylan Larkin. So let's talk about that real quick. And our thoughts and prayers go out to Larkin and his wife about the, unfortunate situation with their child. They did lose their child, unfortunately. And so our thoughts and prayers go out to them. I really don't have any much more to say, unfortunately. But yeah, hope all the best for them. Hopefully, things can get better for them through time, and yeah, it all just gets better. So, but yeah, Wings lose 3-2 against the New York Rangers in an unfortunate way, in my opinion, due to refs' poor officiating tactics. So, Derek, would you agree with me on the officiating? How bad it was and how bad the last goal was? Because to me, I thought it was over the bar.
I mean, that one I watched probably 20 times just to see where that stick was at. And Toronto, I think, might have made a mistake there because it was so close. I mean, it's one of those most frustrating goals you'll ever see. It's not like the one against Ottawa where he batted out the air. That was just a great athletic movement there. This one, great skills. Swat that out of the sky right before, I forget who was standing in the net, smacked it out of the way. But I digress. We can't really do too much about that now. It is what it is. I wouldn't have called it a goal, but they did, and that's what lost us the game. Also, it's like a whole nother recap of the Toronto game. I don't know what's going on, but man, what happened to the Detroit Red Wings in that third period? Whew. Was it 15 shots in like 10 minutes just getting peppered down there? Huso was anyways. So even if they didn't get that goal, I was getting worried it was going in anyways.
So yeah, let's backtrack. We started at the end, so let's backtrack. Let's start from the beginning. So no goals between either team in the first period, but the refs suck as usual, making calls that they shouldn't be or just not making any calls because there were a lot of boarding situations in this game against the Detroit Red Wings, but typical Detroit Red Wings fashion, none of them were called, or at least majority of them. So Panarin scores opening goal, so that was sick. Seider follows up to tie it, and Fabbri scores a ripper to take the lead 23 seconds later after the Seider goal. So that's great. We're already leading. But Trocheck is a little biatch for his knee-on-knee hit on Raymond, in my personal opinion. I don't really know how to pronounce his name, but I believe it's Goalie boards Ghost Bear, and Costin fights him. So that was great to see. Costin stepping up. That's exactly what you need. He wasn't really doing that too much before this game, but yeah, Derek, great, right?
It's great to see too, especially after what happened during that boarding. Oh, a no call. So thank God that someone stepped up on the Red Wings because that's what you need to have happen when you have that stuff. This is old school hockey talk, kind of, but you got to take it into your own hands sometimes. I'm not condoling violence in one way or another, but if your guy gets one of your best players gets messed up into the boards like that, refs don't call it. Got to make sure it doesn't happen again. Old school me talking about it, but man, rough. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's why they call those players the enforcers, right? Because if the refs aren't going to enforce the calls, players got to enforce the fighting, right? So got to make sure that's well known that we're not tolerating that BS, and we're going to fight you guys for it if you keep it up. And so good on Costin for doing that, for standing up for his player, Ghost Bear. Rangers tie it in 10 minutes left in the third period. Great. Refs miss a huge boarding hit on Alex DeBrincat once again. Rangers take the lead with 4 minutes left in the third period due to the baseball swing goal. So we're back to here. Yeah, personally, my opinion, I thought it was a little high. I thought it was a little quick for the refs to call it a good goal. I thought that it was super quick. Typically, they are a little apprehensive is the word I want to use, I guess, or just like they just take their time with it. And at first they say it's no goal, and then they take the time to go ahead and look at it, do the review, and then reverse it if it is good. But much like all the other non-calls or the calls that they did make, it seemed like that the refs were more so on the New York Rangers side. Would you agree with me on that? Or is that me being biased because I'm a Red Wings fan and I want my team to win every single game that they play?
Oh, of course, there's biased opinions in there because we want the Red Wings to win every single time. But if we're going off the track record of how the refs throughout the entire NHL have been playing this year, it actually kind of goes hand in foot with what they've been doing. They're making all these weird calls. I mean, at least we didn't get a whole 10-person line ejection like the Ottawa game. Jesus. Even though we'll talk next game, I believe it was the next game where I think, was it that game that someone got kicked out by the same ref that kicked out that entire 10-person line? We'll get into that.
Are you asking if the ref us?
Yeah, what was it? Costin that got kicked out the next game in Chicago?
Oh, yeah. So the ref who did ref that game, that Sens game you're talking about, he did. Yeah, correct.
Thank you. Okay, that's what I'm like, I think I'm connecting these refs correctly now because their
They
faces
did.
are just
They did
burned in my
say that
skull.
during the game. Yeah, they did make mention of that during the game. So
Hey, that is what it is right now. The refs are being ungodly refy right now, I guess is a good way to put it without insulting them even more.
insult them. Go ahead, just do it. It's what we're here for.
Jesus Christ, get their heads out of their asses. Stop feeling like you are the god of the ice. No one really cares about you out there. Just make sure you make the right call. Don't call this petty little bullshit to make up for stuff later on. If you missed the call, you missed the call. Like the game against Minnesota with Hart. I didn't even care. I like the extra penalty we got at the end, but what does it do? You gave him a little prissy ass penalty. I'm like, come on. Just call the game that you're supposed to call, and then everyone's got to be happy. No one needs to know your name. If you know a ref's name, that's bad for that ref. And we know a lot of refs' names right now, so.
Yeah, the reffing situation definitely has not seemed to have lightened up, and that's quite unfortunate. Well, we know how inconsistent the refs are, right? I mean, there was that slew foot that Ryan Hartman had on Alex DeBrincat that got him 1 game suspension. Then you had all those fans from Boston from the Jacob Trouba baseball swing hit. That only got him a fine. And then you look at what Michael Rasmussen did last year to the Boston player, hit him in the head with a stick. I think it was against Patrice Bergeron, or it was David Krejci. I can't remember which player it was. And Michael Rasmussen got suspended a game or two for that. So we all know that the reffing is super inconsistent, right? But what do you, in your personal opinion, think that we as fans could come up with, I guess? Not that it means anything and that they're actually going to do it, but what do you think as a fan would we like to see the league implement to help correct these bad calls? What do you think, Derek?
I mean, it wouldn't be a terrible thing to have, like, something when it's that obnoxious, like a slew foot on Alex DeBrincat that's not called in front of a ref. Yeah. But I don't think we need an extra person. We have so many eyes out there on the ice as it is that we can see pretty much every single angle that, if there's something that blatant, it's not called. Yeah, why not throw a coach's challenge out there, a little penalty flag? It's like, okay. I mean, you can't have an abundance of these. Obviously, it's going to get ridiculous. Everyone's going to be throwing them out every 5 seconds.
1 per game. Everyone knows the rules. 1 per game.
I mean, it could be something to implement. You never know what could actually work out, especially with, you don't want the coaches to become the refs either. That's going to have a whole set of other issues to get involved there. But when you're having this many issues involved in the game, especially when you already have 3 refs out on the ice that can't make certain calls that should be, or are making calls that shouldn't be either, or if getting rid of 10 players on the ice for a whole game, like, that's just ridiculous. Stop. Control yourself. That's ridiculous. But like we said, we're fans. We don't know what actually breaks down into how these refs are actually working and how they get their jobs done. Well, we can figure that one out pretty easily, but I can go for a coach's challenge to break it down to a simple answer for you. Why not? It could help out a little bit as what I could see, but there could also be so many things going wrong with it too. So I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Hopefully, Gary Bettman and company can find a solution to the issue of horrible reffing around the league. It's not just Red Wings. It happens in every game. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about the Red Wings game once again. Okay, so we're still talking about, all right, so, yep, Red Wings lose to the baseball swing goal. I thought it should have been high. Derek also thinks it should have been high. Overall, strong effort by Husso, who was playing in nets. I think that was one of his better games of the year, personally, especially without having Larkin. His presence definitely was missed a little bit, in my personal opinion. I think the Red Wings got lucky with the 2 goals that they got, especially being really close in scoring within 23 seconds apart of each other. They unfortunately just couldn't hold it clearly losing 3-2 with 4 minutes left in the third period. The refs were a huge factor in this game, or a non-factor, however you want to look at it. But yeah, the New York Rangers handed the Red Wings their first loss in the last, I think that was the Red Wings were on a 3-game or 4-game winning streak. So you move on to the next one, to a struggling Chicago Blackhawks team, like we just mentioned, going through the Corey Perry issue and everything else that goes on with being a not so deep team. So Red Wings beat the Hawks 5-1. I was there. I got my Patrick Kane jersey. It was awesome. Great game. There was a lot of Hawks fans, like I mentioned, but yeah, bro, honestly, best part of the whole entire game, the fabbri goal, dude. Right before it happened, I remember I was talking to Jeff, or actually, I think I was just talking to myself. I was just speaking out loud, and I was like, all right, come on, boys, make something happen. And as soon as I said that, fabbri did the crossover, started deking out, and then put it right into the net. I was like, oh my God. Stood up out of my seat. I was like, this is probably one of the better games I had ever been to.
I mean, the way Mickey put it, that guy was looking for his jockstrap up in the scoreboard, or not the scoreboard, up on the boards there, man. Oh my God, he got undressed. That was beautiful. That is a perfect explanation of why you don't watch a puck. You watch the body. Oh my God, that defenseman, he is probably sitting in the locker room getting screamed at by the D coach so much for doing that. Oh God, that's like Pee-wee level stuff that you don't do that in the NHL, and oh my God, you don't do it to someone like Fabbri. Jesus Christ, he will take full advantage every single time. Oh, it was beautiful. Go on, Zach, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. And when asked about it the next day, Fabbri's like, yeah, that was probably one of my better, if not my best goal I've probably scored in the NHL or even in my career playing hockey. And so I would say that's a pretty fancy goal. I loved it. With that, though, I did put here, with that highlight reel goal, Fabbri is on pace for 49 goals and 63 points in 73 games. He did get another goal that game, so he did have two. And I personally want to apologize to Robbie Fabbri because I was someone who, look, the guy gets injured all the time. I just want consistency in that, but he has provided me with consistency in scoring. Currently, he does have, let me pull it up here on Elite Prospects. Currently, he does have 9 points in 11 games with 7 goals, 2 assists. So he's proving me wrong. Kind of, sort of. I didn't think that he was going to be bad this season. He still needs to prove to me that he can stay healthy. So, but what do you think about that, Derek? Do you think that he can get the 49 goals and the 63 points that I mentioned? Or do you think he's going to come back down a little bit to reality?
So if Fabbri's getting 50 goals this season, that means the Red Wings are making a huge playoff run. So I would love to see it. Do I think he's going to get that? Probably not. If he's on pace and he stays healthy, I would be very happy to see like 30, 35 goals from him. I still think that'd be amazing, and that still is actually good enough. Good enough. That's great enough for the Red Wings to make a legitimate playoff push, especially from somebody who's playing second, third line. 35 goals. I can't really argue that. Like there's very little in there, and I'll be on Zach's train. I think I may have talked a little bit about Fabbri too. I just wanted him to stay healthy. If he stays healthy and he continues to do this, I think we're going to be pretty well set for the future here, especially after these last two. Well, I'll talk a little bit more poopsie on the next game, but this game, it was great to watch. We knew it was coming because obviously a struggling Blackhawks crew, I'd really hope that the Red Wings are going to be able to pull one off there, and we did.
Yeah, without a doubt. It was a really good effort by the Red Wings. So, and I should have started off with this. So JT Comfort did open up the game with scoring the first goal, assisted by Andrew Kopp and Jake Wallman, followed by that amazing Robbie Fabbri goal. But like Lucas Reichel did tie it up right after. So that did make me a little nervous in the first period. But yeah, Robbie Fabbri came in with that amazing goal, assisted by Jake Wallman. So that's a second assist for Wallman. Ben Sherratt also actually had a pretty good goal. So that was actually really nice to see him finally get onto the scoreboard. You don't really see too many goals from him. That's the second of the year, assisted by Alex DeMarquette and Lucas Raymond. Then you got JT Compher scoring again for his second goal with Raymond assisting and David Perron assisting. That was a power play goal. And then Robbie Fabbri scoring the third one, or the second goal of the night, fifth one overall, with a power play goal as well, assisted by Daniel Sprong and Moritz Seider. But yeah, Klim Kostin got in a fight again. We love the intensity that he's been bringing lately. So are you going to get a Klim Kostin jersey, Derek?
I mean, if he keeps it up, he's been doing pretty well, and I've been enjoying him, even though he may have gotten ejected from the game, which I thought was a stupid call.
He did.
I mean, I say it's the ref's fault for being at the bottom of that pile. Why was he there? Come on, buddy. Like, don't go underneath them. You stay on top, pull them apart, or just let them beat the crap out of each other. Like, I thought it was hilarious that he kept just dragging the ref with the other guy across the ice. Do I see why he got the extra penalty? Maybe, but it was still funny. I don't know. I was amused by it.
Yeah, and then in this game, Connor Bedard was very frustrated in this game, and he was showing it very well by punching the door on the boards, and I thought that was pretty stupid that he was doing that. I thought he was going to break his hand. Stupid, but would have been funny if he did it. How hard are those boards, Derek, when you're punching it with those hockey gloves?
I mean, it hurts when your body goes off them, and if he's punching the top, which is even harder, plastic-ish stuff, it's going to hurt 10 times worse. I don't know. I wouldn't want to do it.
Oh, boy. All right, Bedizi, don't be going out there and injuring yourself. You're a top talent. We like watching you play. Stay on the ice, kid. Alex Lyon did play in this game. Supposedly in his last 3 games, he is a 3-0 record with 1 shutout and a 9. I don't know who put this here. Who put this note here? It says 97.8 save percentage, 0.978 save percentage. I think is what this person meant. Whoever put this here.
I mean, I don't probably think that's right either, though.
That's probably not right either. But no, whoever
0.958, but still amazing. 0.95, amazing.
Yeah. Whoever wanted to talk about Alex Lyon, yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. And in his 4 games alone, as a collective whole, his goals against average is 1.26. His save percentage is 958. 3 wins, 1 lost, 1 shutout. Just absolutely phenomenal. He is, for someone who did not play for 6 months straight, basically, coming into the season, didn't get his first start until like after the first 15 games of the season. I kind of thought that was how it was going to go. You kind of wanted to let the other 2 goalies get the go-aheads and see how they work out, and then eventually let Lyon go and get his games in. He's proving to me he needs to start playing a little bit more, and we're kind of starting to give that to him. We haven't heard from Reimer in quite some time. So what do you think overall about Alex Lyon's performances so far, Derek?
I mean, I think it's a blessing in disguise that Ville Husso didn't have a kid over that Swedish trip, because obviously you can't. Normally with those situations, you'll never have the same goalie play both back-to-back games like that. And thank God Lyon was there, and we had 3 goalies for that reason. He got his star. He looked great. Reimer looked a little squeamish in net, and that was the last thing we saw of Reimer. That was the Swedish weekend. So. And thank God for that, because Lyon showed his true colors. He's doing great. I'm pretty sure his only loss was that game against Toronto. So he technically hasn't lost on U.S. soil yet with us. So I say that's pretty good.
That is pretty good. Hopefully, when we make it into the playoffs, we're not playing against a Canadian team, so we can always be on U.S. soil, and he's our starting goaltender.
We'll keep that flow going.
But let's go ahead and talk about another American thing, and that would be American great, not Patrick Kane, but American great JT Compher, who also ended up getting 2 goals in this game. And in this game, he still has the same amount of points, but in 19 games, or 19 points in 22 games this season, on a 5, I don't know why someone put this here as well. You guys are not allowed to put notes in the notes anymore. On a 5-year, $25 million contract. I don't know why that's relevant, but I get what they're trying to say here. So yeah, almost a point per game on a 5-year, $25 million contract. Okay, yes.
You want to know if he's worth that?
No, like I mentioned on a couple episodes ago, JT Comfort is exactly the 2 seed that we've been needing and wanting for quite some time now. We truly haven't had a 2C since, I guess, when Henrik Zetterberg and Pavel Datsyuk were still on the team. And even then, I mean, you had Stephen Weiss, who was a failed experiment. I can't even remember who it was before that, to
I
be
mean,
honest
we
with
had
you.
Dylan Larkin at the same time. We did have Zetterberg for, 1 year? So,
Right.
one whole
Right.
year. So, how long? Holy shit! How long was that ago?
A long time ago, like 8 years ago, I think. So, but yeah, no, JT Comfort, he is turning out to be exactly that we hoped and needed him to be. Honestly, he's been way more than I thought he was actually going to be. Would you agree with me on that?
Oh, he's been a wonderful addition. Worth that $5 million. That's what scared me originally with him coming in, if he was actually worth that deal. But he's pulling out every point. He's making every dollar worth it right now. I'm happy to see him out there.
Yeah, currently after last night's game against the Montreal Canadiens, he's 19 points in 23 games. I'm trying to see, what his overall projection could look like at the end of this year. But Elite Prospects is taking quite some time to load for me, so I'll follow up with that here shortly. So, Derek, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the last night's game. Red Wings beating the Montreal Canadiens. But before I do, wow, I'm just all over the place, I know. So,
Before I do, let's
yeah,
talk about
JT
something completely
Comfort.
different.
JT Comfort, he's projected to have 21 goals, 46 assists for 67 points in 82 games. Hopefully that sticks. That's great. That's honestly more than what I thought he was going to get. I thought it was going to be more towards the Andrew Kopp numbers, and that really scared me. I thought that that's what it was going to be. I was really hoping for just more than 50 points. I would have to go back and look to see what I projected for him to get, what we all projected him to get. But yeah, if he gets 67, I'll be extremely happy with that. If he gets over 60, that's money. Would you agree with me on that, Derek?
Oh, that's money that freaking Yasmin is putting back in the organization's pocket. He finagled that deal wonderfully if this is how it's going to go. Oh, that man's mind is a trap that I do not want to go into, but I want to know the workings of.
All right. Yeah. I guess I'm in the same boat as you are, I guess, but I would phrase it a little differently in my
We'll think about
but
it. Go with it.
Red Wings beat the Montreal Canadiens last night on Saturday 5-4 in overtime, and quite frankly, it should not have went into overtime. The Red Wings were winning at one point
We were
4-1?
4-2.
4-2.
Second period.
4-2. So what happens? Veleno opens the scoring, getting his 6th of the year. Then you have Christian Fischer, who Matt saw at a store with books or something. He was trying to make a joke. I don't know why I said that, but I thought that was funny. So referencing Matt, sorry you couldn't be here, Matt, but I'm throwing it out there. What's up, buddy? Yeah, Christian Fischer with the shorty, thanks to Michael Rasmussen putting it on net. Yeah, I thought that was a great goal. Veleno technically used to be a fourth line player, but the next goal was followed up by Sprong, who snipes a quick one top shelf to make it 3-0. And like you said in our group chat, Derek, it was great to see that the fourth line was producing goals like that. So yeah, at one point we were leading 3-0, not just 4-2, but 3-0, and we ended up going into overtime. But yeah, tell me a little bit how it's great to see this fourth line scoring a little bit. What do you think about the Fisher goal? Honestly, being it shorthanded.
I mean, it was a beautiful broken play. Oh man, they messed that pass up straight up to the D. He lost it. He overcorrected and did a bad correction right to Fisher. Got up to Rasmussen. He got it down there. I wish Rasmussen was a little quicker. He probably would have got a nice little breakaway there, but he's a big boy. I understand his job is not to be fast, but he got it there. The goalie did not know where that puck was, obviously, so Fisher came crashing in like he should have to get that puck in the net, and I loved it. And it's great to see because starting that last game against Chicago, Detroit got their first shorthanded goal. And then guess what happened? We got our second one the next game after. I think the Red Wings are doing pretty well in the PK, and thank God for that. And obviously, have we seen our penalty, our power play right now? doing pretty well too. I think we are like 9-25 in the last few games, so I think we're starting to make that turn. I think we're only at like 23% still, which is in like middle tier of the pack. But we're doing a lot better than we were in that middle like 8 games we had where we had like 0 goals after we went 50% for the first opening game. So thank
Yeah,
God
they
for that
made
call.
yeah, they made mention of that, Derek, that I think during that weird losing streak, they only put up like one power play goal in like the 40 power play opportunities that they had or something like that. It was something ridiculous. And yeah, they're starting to pick it up, which is great to see, but continue. My apologies.
Yeah, you're good. It was the one thing that's been struggling for us for a while, and thank God we're not Washington or Pittsburgh because those poor guys are at, I think, under 7% on their penalty or power play for the year. So don't be them. And
Yikes.
thank God we're making that turnaround there. But the shorthandies has been great. The fourth line, I mean, we got Sprun out there, we got Costin, we got Fisher. They're just either beating the crap out of everybody, sniping in the net, or crashing the net. And I love it. That's exactly what we
Yeah,
want to see from these guys. That's a depth player right there.
100%. And that was something that I was actually saying. I can't remember if it was that night or it must have been a couple games ago where I was like, wow, we really haven't seen too much from like the bottom pairings of this team, right? Where I feel like that we could use a little bit more scoring because I look at you know the stats on the team and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Klim Kostin 2 points in 19 games. Okay, like he could really get something going. Okay, Christian Fischer 6 points now in 22 games. Okay, that's really not too bad. That's like what you'd expect out of your bottom line forward, right? Especially I like that one. But Sprong, I think it's criminal that he's down there on the fourth line. But the reason why I asked you why it's important that this fourth line showcase this is because once Patrick Kane comes into this lineup, one of these guys is probably going to end up being bumped down. I don't think it's going to be Daniel Sprong. It's probably going to be Klim Kostin or it's going to be Christian Fischer. And that's probably why both are doing what they're currently doing and have been doing in these last couple of games. I keep on asking, would you agree with me? And you've agreed with me on everything.
I
I'm
mean,
waiting
it's
for
hard
a
not to, man.
disagreement.
Like, you know exactly what it is. They are about to. One of them is going to lose a spot. You're right. Sprun's not going down. He's been doing too well out of all the three of them. He's been doing the best. But you can
Yeah.
see they're up in their game since, obviously, especially this week when they're like, "Oh, a Patrick Kane's coming. Oh, that's going to be a 2 lines above us. That means someone's getting pushed down, and another person's getting pushed down. What happens to one of us? Oh, you're going down to the AHL. That's just what has to happen. Are they going to do it with the person who has the smallest contract or the person with the most productivity? I don't know. They're pretty even right now. Do we want the person who is able to throw fists to keep staying, or do we want the person who's able to do a little bit of everything? I don't know. It's going to be a hard call, and I'm thankful that I'm going to make that this week. Derek
Yeah,
and
because
Stevie have a
Patrick
fun
Kane,
time.
right. No, and I'm glad I don't have to make the decision either. So let's talk about Patrick Kane and him joining Mickey Redmond and crew, talking about, his past playing with Alex DeBrincat with the Chicago Blackhawks, and then just growing up and being the type of player that he is. So, and what a weird time to do it too, when Alex DeBrincat scores his 200th career goal, right? So, what do you think about that one, Derek?
Oh, that was fun to watch. It took me a second to realize what my computer was telling me when they kept saying Patrick was talking next. I'm like, who the heck is Patrick, and why is he in the press booth with Mickey and them? And I was like, oh God, it's Patrick Kane in the press booth. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. I'm like, listen to him talk. Then it was great to witness the fact that when they're talking about the power play, the Brinket puts in his 200th career goal. It's like, yeah, Kane, that's what you're going up with next, buddy. Have fun out there. Make sure you give us what you said you're going to give us in that press conference. The 2 years ago, Kane, not just the last year, Kane. The 2 year ago when that 90 points hit. I'm going to hold him up to that one because he said he's ready for it. He's better than last year. I'll take 90 points, Kane. You can do it. We got like 60 some games left.
Yeah, and I'm going to take him by his word. If he says that he feels a lot better than he did 2 years ago, his type of talent just does not disappear, right? And he's been playing. It's not like he hasn't played in 2 years. He just hasn't played in
Six
six,
months.
7 months, something like that. And so he got rid of aggravated pain. He even said, like, yeah, like I couldn't put as much weight on the one foot when I was,
I mean, he
trying
couldn't
to
even
skate. And
cross over last year, which
right.
is insane because how do you skate? Like, you don't go fast without crossing over. Like, it's a weird movement to go straight on the ice. Like, if you're
You
not
just
crossing
glide.
over, you're not really moving at all. And he
So
still got
maybe those
52
jokes,
points.
yeah, and maybe those jokes now of him not being able to backcheck and being a defensive liability are going to change now that he's actually going to be able to skate. Maybe, okay, maybe he still will be a defensive liability, but not to the extent that it was for the previous 2 years. That could be a huge component to this surgery. We're just going to have to wait and see, but this is going to be, you have to think, is there a trade in the works too? And that's what I was trying to say earlier too. Now that I have my train of thought back, is that not only does it help Kane, not only does it help the team, not only does it help Steve Yzerman that Kane hasn't started playing yet, is there a possible opportunity that Steve Yzerman is trying to get a trade going to make a roster spot open for him?
It's a hard one because who are you really going to be able to trade? You're not going to touch anybody in your top two lines. Your third line, not really looking like you want to touch that either. It would be someone on the fourth line, and if you're going to trade them away, what are you really going to be getting back for, though, for a fourth line trade? Not much. And that's just making room for a roster spot. So you're kind of just giving up, especially with the players we have on our fourth line right now, giving up a good chunk for probably nothing. So I'd most likely like to see, like, if those players we're going to have, I mean, we're paying them, so might as well send them down to the AHL to actually mentor some of the players down there, because obviously our fourth line is good enough to not be in the AHL. But if we have one of them down there helping out our struggling Grand Rapids Griffins, I'd probably make a little bit better look for the players coming up. Obviously, Costin and Fisher probably don't want that to happen. But in the long run, what looks best for the team, I would say that'd probably be a better move than just sending them out to be a fourth liner or AHA player on another team.
So you wouldn't consider sitting one of the D-man that we have?
Oh, we want to talk about defense, man.
I'm talking about because you're not just selective towards the forwards, right? You could just sit the forward. You can keep them. You don't have to send them down. But if it comes down to trade, or if you had to send someone down, that's my question. Which one do you think is most likely to happen? Because to me, I guess for me, if you were trading, the person that I'm trading would be it would probably either be someone like Michael Rasmussen or David Perron, because I think those are the two players. Patrick Kane is basically an upgrade of David Perron, in my personal opinion, but I don't like that you're getting rid of that veteran leadership. I don't like the fact that you would be moving Michael Rasmussen, because I do think that there is untapped potential. Not very much, but I do think that there is untapped potential there, and he is a young player who also plays an important center position
And
when
God,
you
his
need him
eyes
to.
terrify me. I just
And
love.
his eyes terrify you, yes. So I'm not going for the trade, but those are the two players that I'm thinking of. Maybe a Robbie Fabbri, but you're giving up scoring, right? And so you got to keep riding his hot hand. Maybe someone like a Joe Veleno too. I don't know, but I think David Perron would probably be at the top of the list. Other than that, maybe Daniel Sprong. You got to look at players who have 1 year deals, right? And so if you're looking at defense, I get it. Jeff Petrie is doing better points wise than Oli Mata. Justin Hall hasn't really been putting up too much points, but I think I gotta maybe send down Petrie or Justin Hall or Oli Mata. Those would be the three that I'm sending down. I don't think I can send down any of the forwards. I think you have to continuously rotate them, but yeah, I think it would be one of those 3D. And then somehow you have to try and bring up Simon Edvinsson. I think you just have to. I think at this point, he's too good to be in Grand Rapids, even though they are struggling. The Red Wings are the most important thing here, not the Grand Rapids Griffins. So
I mean, even the fact is, I don't expect us to keep this third goalie going on for much longer. Obviously, we haven't even seen Reimer since the Swedish trip. So that's going to be a move that they're going to make here shortly, and then we'll see what happens with the D. I feel like Reimer's going to end up going to some struggling team. I mean, Edmonton might need him, even though they're starting to win again, but Stuart Skinner is not putting that save percentage up where he needs to either. He just has McDavid on his team.
So let's talk about that real quick. And I know that we kind of got off track talking about the Montreal game that we played last night, but we'll get into that. But this all works together, right? Because Husso played in this game, and we're going to start talking about the goaltenders now and who we could consider trading or sending down because of this Patrick Kane situation that we have, right? And so, yeah, Husso played last night. He had like an 8.75 save percentage, like I mentioned before we started recording. His record right now is 13 games played. He has a 3.48 goals against average, a .891 save percentage, 8 wins, 4 losses, 1 tie. His 8 wins are solely because the Red Wings can score 4+ goals every single freaking game. Like, they are the 4. I'm pretty sure it was when I went to the Chicago game, they said that the Red Wings were the 4th highest scoring team in the league. I don't know if that has changed currently. I would have to look and see, but I'm pretty sure that is still the case.
Scoring 5 goals? I don't think so. I think we probably got bumped up a little.
Well, maybe it was by goal differential, so that could have been the case. Why? So technically 1. We added 1 more, so we're probably in the top 5 still. But anyways, yeah, going off of Ville Husso, those 8 wins come from us or the team in front of him, not because of how well he has been playing, because he really has not been playing well. There have been games where he has played well, but there have been plenty of games where he hasn't. But it's not just on Husso. It is partially on the defense as well. But it is mostly on Husso, because then you look at James Reimer, 6 games. Okay, James Reimer hasn't been playing ever since his catastrophe against the Ottawa Senators. In 6 games, 2.3 goals against average, a .917 save percentage, 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 ties, 1 shutout. Great. That's probably what we wanted and expected out of him. He's our backup, right? One of them, right? Then you go to Alex Lyon, who is projected to be, and probably always projected to be, our 3rd starting goalie until he got his playing time and showed us that he could be better than we thought. In 4 games, 1.26 goals against average, .958 save percentage, 3 wins, 1 loss, 1 shutout. Small sample size, yes. But it's phenomenal sample size so far.
Oh my God.
He did it with the Florida Panthers to get them into the playoffs last year. I'm not sitting here and saying make Alex Lyon the automatic starter, but so far, James Reimer and Alex Lyon, looking at the numbers, the eye test might be different. Ville Husso does look the more sound goaltender in net. However, Alex Lyon is outperforming, and James Reimer is outperforming Ville Husso. Would that change if they have played the 13 games that Ville Husso has played? I don't know. Maybe not that much. What do you think about that, Derek?
Well, I don't expect Lyon to keep this beautiful record. I mean, if he does, holy crap, we won the Stanley Cup. I don't even know. If you keep that record going, that is insane. You are a top starting goalie. Do I believe he will? No, it's kind of just not one of those things that's attainable to keep that going for that long. Kind of like our 50% power play that we had for the first 10 games. It looks good, but it's just not conceivable to keep going. If it does, we're going to win everything. Just remember that. But man, I think
so. Who is the Detroit Red Wings starting goaltender? I'm sorry to cut you off there, but please answer that first and then continue on with what you were going to say.
Husso is our starting goaltender right now. We don't have like you said, we have a small sample size, a beautiful sample size of Lyon, but not big enough to make him our starter. Even though we did see what he did last year with Florida, which I thought was insane. And I thought that was worth giving him a look a lot sooner than 20 games or something into the season. But it is what it is now. They're seeing it. I'm pretty sure he's our solid second over Reimer, obviously, since we haven't seen Reimer in a while. So, and with his production, I wouldn't get rid of him. Like, you'd be almost idiotic to get rid of him at this point.
I'm getting to the point where I'm getting a little antsy, right? Where I feel like it's a little unfair that the team up front has done its job, right? I don't think any of the forwards deserve to be bumped down because we're adding a Patrick Kane. But it has to happen, right? Because that's a spot, right? And so that's just how it works. The defense has been all right. Wallman, Seider, Ghost Bear have been phenomenal. I think Hall has been fine. I keep going back to Petrie, Ben Sherratt. I also think that William Mata has been fine. Some inconsistencies with all those players, but things you can get over. Yeah, this is now the main focus point, I think, with the Detroit Red Wings is who is going to come out on top at this point, and how much longer are we going to carry these three goaltenders? At this point, I think it's going to be for the rest of the season. Eventually, one's either going to get injured or one's just going to really shit the bed. And right now, it is starting to look like Ville Husso. If Ville Husso is indeed infected with the Nedeljkovic ick and Magnus Hellberg ick, are the Red Wings still going to be able to make it into the playoffs, Derek?
I mean, I feel like they'll see what they have to see, and if they have to make the switch up with Lyon and him, they're going to do it. Like, obviously, they're paying Husso the big bucks to be our starter, and they want him to be our starter. But like EV said, if he ends up shitting the bed too many times, and we're actually the team that we're looking like we're supposed to be right now, a playoff contending team, you can't have that going on because that's a large part of the game. If you don't have a good goalie, you could have phenomenal defense, phenomenal offense, but if your goalie's shitting the bed, as in we've seen Edmonton doing pretty well the first few games, I mean, we could just all go look at Campbell right now, opening the bench for an AHL team at $90,000 a game. The dream. Oh my God, I want that job. But we don't want that. We don't want that.
No.
So if we have to, we will make that switch. I don't think Stevie or Derek are above that at all. They'll see it. It was like, well, we tried something. It didn't work, unfortunately. We're making the push. We want to win. So they're going to make the change real quick. So hopefully Husso starts standing on his head a little bit more and proves me wrong here.
Yeah, because I mean, you still have another year with Husso next year, so that kind of makes me worry too, right? You do have Line for next year as well, so there's your backup right there, or at least one of them being the backup, one of them being the starter. I would not be surprised if Alex Lyon comes around and starts stealing the job here pretty soon. I really would not be surprised by that. I think he is dialed in. He's doing a very good job. There are times where I am a little bit worried, where he does look a little like, kind of reminds me of Peter Mrazek a little bit, where he's kind of coming out a little too far. He's a little sporadic, like I said, but I think he's a phenomenal goaltender. I think he does a really good job, and keep riding the hot hand. I think it's well deserved, and we'll just have to wait and see. And who knows when Kosa's going to be ready? Who knows when Trey Augustine's going to be ready? And who knows what the long-term future is going to really look like with these goaltenders, man? Because I feel like being a top-tier goaltender is a dying breed. You don't have very many Patrick Roys, or dare I even say Chris Osgoods. There's no new Vasilevsky's coming up. There's no new, I would say the newest Vasilevsky is still Jake Ottinger, right? I mean, I don't really know who else, but
over there.
Who?
Is it Demko? Vancouver's good.
Oh, Demko. Yeah, Demko's good. He's been around for a little bit, though. I guess I'm just trying to say, I thought, Yaroslav Askarov, where's he at? Where's the goalie that we could have had instead of Kosa, Jesper Wallstead? I get it. Goalies take a while, but
God, way too long. It's annoying.
I'm anxious and impatient, people. So, all right, let's actually get back into the game. So, where did I leave off? Daniel Sprong snipes a quick one, top shelf, make it 3-0. Yeah, that was a strong, quick shot. I thought that was a great goal. Montreal then gets one in the first, then in the second to make it 3-2. Like we said, Alex DeBrincat scores his 200th with Patrick Kane in the press box, making it his 13th of the season. Patrick Kane was certainly impressed, and he made it well known that, like, yeah, this is exactly what I've been needing. This is why he's such a great goal scorer. Is that, you know, he opens up his hips, he does the right things, does this, that, this, and that, this and that, and then scores a goal. Larkin is back, but was not looking the sharpest. But he did get an assist. I don't know why I paused there. I read the rest and I was like, this makes no sense. I can't read that. Didn't say that. But yeah, he did get an assist in the OT goal that Jake Wallman did get for us. But yeah, classic Red Wings game, getting the lead and then playing preventative defense, even though we all know we are not defensively strong enough to do this. And it's funny that you wrote this down, Derek, and it's funny that you wrote that down because all those other games we were nervous. We were saying time and time again, how much longer can the Red Wings keep going down in games and then coming back to win them? Now here they are leading in games and then having to maintain that lead and then being forced into overtime. So what's it going to be? Is it going to be games like this? Which one would you rather have, in your personal opinion? Would you rather have a lead to start off and then go into OT? Or would you rather be down to start the game and then having to climb all the way back up to try to win?
Honestly, the second always makes you feel a little bit better with the climb up. The first one always just hurts to watch that lead dwindle down to the point you have to go to overtime. Thank God our overtime this time got ended really quick with the beautiful, what is it, the gritty? I don't even know.
Yeah, Jake Wallman, just gritty. Yeah.
Gritty
So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that, buddy.
Yeah, Jesus, like, I don't know where they were. Like, okay, we'll jump to the preventative defense. They looked great, Red Wings, all the way up to that 10-minute mark in that second period. Then all of a sudden we were up 2 goals. Why do we have to do this every time? Keep forcing it, keep playing hard, pressuring the forwards, get it in their zone. Don't lax around and just try to keep the lead. I don't know why we try to do this all the time. Our defense is not strong enough. Our goalies are hit or miss right now. We're trying to figure that one out, obviously, after we just went on a 10-minute spiel. It's like, play to our strengths. We have a strong forward. Keep it moving, keep pressuring, keep it in their zone. You don't have to have a shot every 5 seconds, but goddamn, just keep it down there. We did not do that. Yeah. And it ended up leading us to a point where we were scoreless for half a game and then got put to overtime. And thank God we had Larkin out there just floating around the ice. He came out of nowhere. I thought he was going to be in a little stint for the game, just showed up in the fourth period just to blow everybody out of the water with like 4 shots on net and an assist, I'm pretty sure, on the Wallman goal. I think that was his assist, right?
Yeah, that was the assist that he got. Yeah, no, Larkin entered the overtime. He's like, F this, I want to go home. I'm over this. Let's just apply the pressure. And he did. He looked phenomenal in that overtime.
Floating around the net. It was great to watch. I don't even think they had the puck in our zone for, well, I mean, obviously it was 50 seconds, but they had no control that entire overtime period.
No, they did not. No, and that was really great to see, and the way that Wallman celebrated was great. The way that Larkin handled the overtime, it should have been their game in the first place. It was great to see that they closed it out early. You didn't have to go into penalty shots, which is always great. I am slowly becoming not a fan of that as time and time goes on, but yeah, no, good win nonetheless. It was a well needed 2 points. That puts you technically second in your division in the Atlantic, based on point percentage, based on how many games that you have left. Florida Panthers do have one more game played than us with 1 more point. So if we did play 1 more game and we won, we would be in second, like I said earlier today in this recording. But yeah, high scoring game. Red Wings outshot, but thankful our offense offsets our defense, and Husso sometimes sucking. Great note there, Derek. Love it. Yeah, no, once again, Huso definitely very questionable. And we have to start asking questions. Is Huso a long-term solution for us? Is Huso potentially even going to be on this team next year? How much longer can we start putting up with this? Because I don't know how much longer we can keep a goaltender that consistently puts up under a 9 save percentage.
It's gonna be a rough
I
one.
really don't. It's up to Steve Yzerman, up to Lidlone. Figure it out, boys. Derek, I think we can close off. We've been recording long enough. This was a long episode, buddy, but I got plenty of editing to do. So
There's a couple little snippets in there we'll have to take out.
yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we got the Lions game coming up here pretty soon, shortly. So I'll just do it during then, and hopefully we can beat the New Orleans Saints. Derek, go ahead. Lay it on us with your final thoughts, buddy.
Oh, keep it up, Red Wings. Let's keep this power play going. Let's keep that PK going. 2 in the last 3 games. I love to see that on the goals. Oh, making the other teams look silly out there. Let's see what Kane brings to the table. Earliest I heard he can be back is Tuesday for that game. So I believe it's against Buffalo, if I am not wrong, in Kane's hometown. So could be a nice little opening. I think it's more so going to be on Thursday against San Jose. So your boy's going to be watching Kane's hopefully opening night as a Red Wing. Don't know if it's going to look great or what he's going to do. Hopefully he gets like 3 goals and I'll just walk away with a New Jersey that night. So we'll find out.
Nice. Yeah, go. My final thoughts are go Red Wings, go Patrick Kane. Loving the new threads over there. What else? Yeah, Patrick Kane could play either Tuesday or Thursday for his first game. I will be out of town on Wednesday for work in Texas. It's going to be fun. So hopefully I can still catch the Red Wings play on Thursday against San Jose if that's Kane's first game. But looking forward to it. Hopefully the Red Wings win against Buffalo nonetheless, against Kane's hometown team. Let's keep it up, boys. Yeah, keep up the power play. Keep up the PK. Goaltending, Lion, keep up the great work. Huso, figure it out, my dude. We need you to do a little bit better, but still winning. That's all that matters at the end of the day. But those are my final thoughts. Until then, we appreciate y'all for stopping by. If you are new, make sure you are subscribing. Hit that subscribe button. All around, returning, new, hit that thumbs up button. We really do appreciate it. If you're on Spotify, listening to us, or watching us on Spotify, make sure you are rating us 5 stars and you are following us as well for future episode updates. Until then, we appreciate y'all for stopping by. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.